What is up, everyone? Jedi here, and welcome back to another episode of the Content Creators Showdown. This is episode number 4, and I have two phenomenal content creators coming up on the stage tonight. I must warn you though, sadly, Patrick from the Farming Eternal podcast had some technical issues when recording, and so we were not able to use his footage. So sadly tonight you're only going to get the Sunnyvale side. That being said though, I guess I spoiled it. Sunnyvale is our other contender. So Tomorrow is from the Farming Eternal podcast. They are a limited focus podcast, much like my own, except super dedicated to the limited process, I should say, not to bum off their intro. Tomorrow definitely takes it upon himself to play both sides of the coin, as well as making sure he gets the information needed to make both himself and you a better drafter. So definitely check out their podcast anywhere that you listen to your podcast, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, all those places. Definitely check him out. Sunnyvale is, of course, one of the longest running content creators for this game. He showed up great competitive and creative numbers, both in Magic as well as in Eternal. He is a top competitor on a more regular basis and is quite the brewer. Definitely, I've seen him do some toning, taking other people's brews and fine-tune them, as well as exploring avenues of deck creation that is normally not taken. He does help bring the community to light as well as bring it together, having a podcast of his own called Friends of Eternal. So definitely check him out, streaming at Sunnyvale on twitch.tv. Alright guys, that's enough about me. Let's get to know about Sunny and his deck.
What is up, everyone? Sunnyvale here with a deck tech for the Content Creators Showdown. If you don't know me, my name is Sunnyvale. I stream in the mornings Pacific time starting around 8 a.m. most weekdays, and I also write articles about budget decks and also make pick orders for draft formats. In this tournament, I'm going to be playing some warp action here. Nothing too fancy, as it is Pauper. There's only so much room for fanciness in this. But we've got Accelerants, Initiate of the Sands, Devotee of the Sands, Trailmaker. Well, Avarax Familiar counts as both an Accelerant as a warp card and as a warp card. And we have cards with warp on them. Journeyman Armorer, Awakened Sentinel, Cannon Bearer, and Blink, in order to play free cards off the top of our deck. Individually, the cards might not be that spectacular or that explosive, but just having enough of them and being able to play card after card after card can sometimes bury the opponent, and that's what I'm going with. A big part of this deck's game plan is establishing the power early on. You see I'm running a bit high on power too, with 27 power, making sure that I'm hitting those power drops and able to warp cards out off the top of my deck, and just consistently be able to play the cards that I get for free, because what good is free stuff if you can't even play it? We've got some removal and Conflagrate and Torch here, and that's really all there is to it. Hopefully I'm going to be able to get a big Infused Guardian or Cannon Bear and be able to attack with that several times after blunting the assault with my removal and cheap units. That's the deck I'm playing. I actually didn't remember that this was a Pauper tournament until about 10 minutes before I built this deck, so I just threw something together that I thought was going to be consistent and function properly, as opposed to try to go deep in the tank and come up with something on such short notice. But warp decks are a lot of fun if you've never played one. It's just a lot of fun to get cards for free off the top of your deck, and yeah, I think it's a pretty good strategy for Pauper. Anyway, my first round opponent is Patamaro, who I'll be playing shortly, and I wish good luck and have fun to all the competitors except when they're facing against me, in which case I hope to be playing lots of cards while they play many fewer cards. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the Creator Showdown. Thanks for tuning in. You can catch me at twitch.tv/Sunnyvale or at twitter.com/Sunnyvale if you want to keep up to date with my content creation projects.
Sunnyvale keeps an opening hand of Praxis Banner, Time Sigil, Awakened Sentinel, Journeyman Armor, Torch, Devotee of the Sands, Avarax Familiar. Sunnyvale is on the play and starts us off for game 1. Alrighty, for game one, Sunnyvale is on the play and decides to start us off with a Praxis banner, passing it to Patumaro. Patumaro takes a moment to think about which one and decides to go with Skycrag banner, passing it back. Sunnyvale plays a Time Sigil and then the Blink Wolf off the top, using Warp, drawing his first card and seeing some of the value from this deck already. Patumaro plays a Primal Sigil and then does Island's favor to go find another Primal Sigil, as well as getting a Face Aegis that may come in handy later on. Time Sigil followed by an Avarax Familiar. Sunnyvale decides he'd rather ramp up to 5 and attacks with the Blink Wolf for 2, putting us to 23-25 in Sunnyvale's favor. Patumaro plays a Found banner and goes in with Vara's favor, taking out the Blink Wolf, gaining a life and drawing a Shadow Sigil of his own. Sunnyvale follows it up with the Waystone, playing in the 3/5 Awakened Sentinel with Endurance, attacking for 1 with the Familiar and passing it back. So 5-3 power wise, but we do know Patumaro has a Shadow Sigil from Vara's favor earlier. He's trying to figure out what the play is here, whether he wants to go with a tempo play or continue to develop his board. Patumaro plays a Shadow Sigil and then decides to execute the Familiar, dealing 2 damage to Sunnyvale but leaving the 3/5 Awakened Sentinel on the board. Sunnyvale plays the Journeyman, pumping up the Awakened Sentinel to a 4/6 Endurance, and then follows up with the Power. They decide to continue ramping, playing the Trailmaker and selecting Fire, putting him at 3 Fire and 5 Time Influence, which pretty much means they can cast everything off the top of their deck. They attack for 4 with the Sentinel and pass it back to Patumaro. Alright, let's see what Patumaro can do, because right now he is falling way behind. Patumaro plays a Primal Sigil and sends it back to Sunnyvale, sadly. So Sunnyvale capitalizes and Alpha strikes, only walking into a Lightning Strike on the Awakened Sentinel, comboed with a Streets of Flame, so taking out the Sentinel and getting a Scout for his troubles. Patumaro still takes 4 from the attack, going back down to 15, and Sunnyvale follows it up by playing both Devotees in his hand as 1/3s at full value, so no shift. Patumaro plays his 6 power and follows up with a Cannon Bear, dealing 1 damage to the Trailmaker, taking that off the board and leaving a 5/6 body. Sunnyvale plays an Infused Guardian with no follow-up power, just being a 4/4 Endurance. With no good attacks, he passes it back to Patumaro. Patumaro decides that before he makes any decisions, he wants to see what's the top of his deck and plays Wisdom of the Elders, drawing 2 cards, hopefully giving him some more options to potentially break this stalemate, since the fact that he can't profitably attack into Sunnyvale and Sunnyvale can't attack into him. He seeks power, getting him his 7th power of the game, leaving him with 2 power left. Let's see if he's able to do something this turn or if he simply sends it back. Playing his 7th power, he follows up with yet another Vara's favor, simply to the face, getting more cards out of his deck and maximizing his power, giving him a small life cushion. Sunnyvale is able to not only warp a Avarax Familiar off the top of their deck, but also play a Amber Waystone, triggering the Sentinel, the Infused Guardian, and make it a 5/5 Endurance, but sadly it still cannot attack through the 5/6 canyon.
Oh my god, it is Magmag Sentinel. Wow.
Seeing the coast is now a little bit more feasible, Patumaro attacks with the 5/6 Canyon Bear, deciding that he can easily 3 or 2 for 1 Sunnyvale. Sunnyvale top decks the Fusion Guardian and an Avarax Familiar on the top to essentially draw him 2 cards this turn. He attacks first, hoping to maybe take the Magmatic Sentinel off with the Torch and Journeyman combo. Let's see if Patumaro takes the bait. I feel it is a little telegraphed considering that both Devotees stayed back, but we are not sure what Patumaro might be playing around. Patumaro reads the board and decides not to block, so Sunnyvale simply follows it up with the Infused Guardian, once again as a lonely 4/4 Endurance, not matching up very well against Patumaro's board, and sends it back over, still having the power for Torch. Patamora yet again playing Wisdom of the Elders pre-combat, seeing what else they could possibly get in hand before deciding to commit to the board or going into the red zone. They play a Stone Scar Banner, giving him 6 out of 9 power for the rest of the turn. Follows up with a Frost Talisman, going full value on this deck. Jeez, all the 2 for what's possible. Stunning the Familiar, the 1/2 Familiar, which is quite interesting. And decides to attack only with the Cannon Bear as last time. Sunnyvale triple blocks, hopefully to get this thing off the board. Still having that torch up in case Patamora has some shenanigans. Let's see if Patamora offers just the even trade or not. He's thinking about it. Patamora has a torch taking out one of the devotees, and so Sunnyvale decides to wait till after damage to make sure that there is enough triggers on it. Let's see, waiting until end of turn probably. So he is. He finishes off the Canyon Bear, leaving 2 cards in hand for Patamora, 0 cards for Sunnyvale. He draws sadly his ramp. That's the wrong time you want to see it. So Initiate of the Sands coming down. He attacks for 1 in the air with the Familiar, passes it back. Patamora 2 cards in hand. Oh my god, at the end of his turn, plays Wisdom of the Elders into 2 more cards, drawing a card off the top for his turn, and still having the ability to pay 7 to draw another card off Frost Talisman. So it seems here that Patamora staying in this game with sheer card advantage. Finally decides to swing in with the Magmatic Sentinel. Sunnyvale sees no point in blocking, takes a 7, falling down to 20 or 14, and then another Cannon Bear comes up for Patamora, taking out the Initiate of the Sands for free. Sunnyvale decides to attack in the air with the 2 Familiars, taking Patamora down to 10, 14 at himself. He drew a power, decides to hold in hand, and sends it back over to Patamora, which apparently has a Streets of Flames to take out the Journeyman. So many cards, so much value coming at Patamora right now. The half of his deck operating at fast speed is definitely proven to be a thing in this matchup so far. Of course, seeing the coast is clear, he attacks him with both the Sentinel and the Cannon Bear. The Devotee chump blocks the Magmatic Sentinel, preventing 7, but Sunnyvale still takes 5, falling down to 9. Top decks a Waystone, triggering to get the Grenadin, and simply plays the Grenadin as a chump blocker. Seeing that he's trying to figure out whether he should attack here for 1 or just leave a third blocker back, just in case Patamora has a way of dealing with one of the blockers. Finally decides that he's not going to win this race by staying back and attacks for 1, and I can get behind that because at this point, Conflagrate off the top, or not off the top, but in hand, triggering the Amplify, taking out both blockers, and yep, 12 damage is just too much to come across, and Sunnyvale has to pack it up, losing game 1 to Patamora. Sunnyvale keeps an opening hand of double Praxis Banner, Time Sigil, Ember Waystone, double Averax Familiar, and an Infused Guardian. Patamora's on the play and starts us off for game 2. Alright, welcome back ladies and gentlemen for game 2. Patamora plays a Primal Sigil, passing it to Sunnyvale. Sunnyvale plays a Praxis Banner, sending it back to Patamora, who plays a Shadow Sigil, followed by Island's Favor, and this seems fairly familiar from game 1. Sunnyvale starts us off with the Initiate of the Sands, plays a banner, and passes it back to Patamora. Let's see if he's able to do anything on 4. Ooh, Patamora with the Vara's Favor, taking out the Accelerant and drawing a Shadow Sigil, playing a Time Sigil, or Primal, sorry. Sunnyvale plays the third power and the Averax Familiar, ramping him up to 5 next turn for the Infused Guardian. Patamora takes a moment, plays a Shadow Sigil that we saw him draw off the Favor the turn before, and decides to pass it back to Sunnyvale without doing anything. Sunnyvale plays the Amber Waystone. Sunnyvale plays the Averax Familiar pre-combat along with the Initiate of the Sands and decides not to attack, sending it back to Patamora, figuring they'd rather trigger the immediate value off of the Infused Guardian. Before taking his turn, Patamora draws 2 cards off of Wisdom of the Elders and then plays another Wisdom of the Elders. So much card value. Patamora is just all about drawing cards. Seems like someone's been listening to a whole lot of Marshall Sutcliffe on limited resources. He plays a Felon Banner and sends the turn back over to Sunnyvale, who immediately attacks with all 3 and then plays the Infused Guardian, followed up by the Waystone, making it a 5/5, playing the Trailmaker, getting a 3rd Fire Influence, spending all his power as efficient as possible, and passing it back to Patumaro. Alright, let's see if Patumaro can do something kind of even the playing field. And a Torrential Downpour gives him an automatic 2-for-1. Does he have a follow-up that can make it a 4-for-2? Let's find out. You can tell by Sunnyvale's face he is not happy about this and hopes that there is no follow-up, but he is patiently waiting like we are. And thank goodness, the only thing Patumaro can do is play another Face Aegis and draw another Primal Sigil. So it seems like Sunnyvale can breathe easy for at least one more turn. Though no one likes seeing their opponent draw a bunch of cards and then getting a 2-for-1. Well, now we see Warp making its play. We see a power off the top of the deck. Sunnyvale attacks for 8 and then still is able to warp the Cannon Bear. Sadly, only breaking Face Aegis, not getting the damage in, but still putting a 5/6 on the board with 2 Conflagrates in hand. This is looking pretty good for Sunnyvale, but that is the way how game 1 played out as well. Tomorrow's deck is playing towards the long game, or the late game if you will, so it doesn't mean he is necessarily out of it yet. Tomorrow plays a power and drops a Cut Ties. No, this is a fast spell, so not sure why he was doing it right away, but taking out the 6/6 Infused Guardian, which of course always has the threat of getting bigger. I can get behind that. Let's see if they have anything else to do with their 1 power, or if they have a power and a 2-cost spell to follow up. They're looking at one of those Averax Familiars, but I don't think anything's going to happen. I stand mistaken. Torch comes down, killing one of the Averax Familiars, and Sunnyvale is forced to swing only for 7, still taking Patumaro down to 9 while he is at a healthy 26. Interesting they decide not to play his 7th power, being able to turn on the Conflagrate Amplify, hitting 2 targets, 2 units, correction, it does not go face, at fast speed. Patumaro starts his turn by playing a Streets of Flame on the Canyon Bear and takes a real long moment at that scout and decides to leave it on top. Obviously they have the follow-up Streets of Flames, and that's why it took him so long to figure out the scout, because nothing is worse than scouting to the top and then having to immediately scout after. They did 2-for-1 themselves, but obviously getting that 5/3 or 5/6 off the board was important, but Warp comes through again. Sunnyvale draws a 4/4 Infused Guardian off the top and then warps in a 3/5 Awakened Sentinel off of the very top of their deck, which yeah, just increases value. So the 1/2 Familiar bites the dust to a Torch. Sadly, Patumaro is running out of removal. Ooh, Cut Ties on the 3/5 Awakened Sentinel, assuming that that's all they got, but lo and behold, the Warp deck still doing its stuff. Warping a Blink Wolf off the top of the deck. It does make Sunnyvale's power a little awkward in the form of the fact that they are unable to play the Sentinel, but Patumaro has no plays and immediately passes it back. So Sunnyvale attacks for 2, taking Patumaro to 7, and then plays the Infused Guardian with the follow-up power, making it a 5/5 Endurance. Frost Tossman comes down for Patumaro, stopping the 2/1, but it can't stop the Endurance Guardian. Another Guardian comes down for Sunnyvale. Power pumps both of them, and Sunnyvale attacks for 6, taking Patumaro down to 1 to 1. Can Patumaro find something off the top of his deck or in his hand to stop it? He can't draw a card because it will take all his power this turn. It's going to be tough. He has to deal with 2, and there is nothing, so he concedes over. Sunnyvale taking game 2, 1-1 each player. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this one is for all the marbles. This is game 3 of the match, and Sunnyvale is on the draw, keeping a hand with Averax Familiar, Devotee of the Sands, Cannon Bear, Double Fire Sigil, Time Sigil, and a Granite Waystone. Let's head on down to the match and see how things play out. Alright guys, I'm super excited to see how this works out. So Patumaro starts us off with a Stone Scar Banner. Sunnyvale, Time Sigil, passes it back. Patumaro takes a moment, plays a Felon Banner depleted, and sends it over to Sunnyvale. Sunnyvale plays her 2nd power and this time shifts the Devotee of the Sands, learning from the earlier games, wanting to keep it alive. Pot Tomorrow plays their third power undepleted. Note they don't have a second primal, so we're not going to be seeing Wisdom of the Elders this time. Sunnyvale snaps off the Avax Familiar, plays a power, and sends it back. Oh, and a Streets of Flames comes down, stopping Son of Sunnyvale's ramp and allowing Pot Tomorrow to scout and send the card to the bottom. Pot Tomorrow plays a depleted power. Interesting to see how they have so much banners instead of sigils, or I guess never mind, it's commons, uncommons. Alright, never mind. Sunnyvale plays, wait, they're trying to figure it out and decide to go a little gutsy and go with a full cost, non-shifted Devotee of the Sands. Not doing anything else with their turn, but leaving up Conflagrate should it happen. Alright, off the top, oh man, that's really sweet. They draw another Conflagrate, but they have a Cannon Bear on top to warp in. So they're going to get to draw 2 cards yet again this turn, man. The value of these warp decks is absolutely backbreaking. So, Lightning Strike takes out one of the Devotees, but with 6 power still at least until end of turn, Cannon Bear comes off the top, sends 1 towards Pot Tomorrow's face. Of note, Pot Tomorrow still has a fast spell or a pause. And of course, at the end of the turn comes the fabled Wisdom of the Elders we've seen time and time again for Pot Tomorrow. Boy, does this man love drawing cards. Sunnyvale sends it back, obviously that happening at the end of his turn. Pot Tomorrow has 5 power and all the influence he could possibly want. So let's see what's going to happen on his turn. He's debating, he's got a ton of cards. Sadly, Sunnyvale does know he's going to draw a Blink Wolf next turn. That is the one downside of Warp, when you can't see a card and you cannot play it. But, oh man, Frost Talisman comes down, stunning the 5/6 Cannon Bear for 2 turns. Hopefully giving Pot Tomorrow some time to be able to get ahead or back on board. Obviously, like we said, Sunnyvale draws the Blink Wolf. He decides before playing the Cannon Bear to attack with the Devotee. Seeing nothing else, then he plays the Cannon Bear, dealing 1 to Pot Tomorrow's face. And of course, whoa, big surprise, there is a pause from Pot Tomorrow. Sunnyvale sends it back, holding on to that Waystone in case he draws a Sentinel. And another Wisdom of the Elders. I swear, these are 75 card decks, but it makes you feel like there's less or limited deck considering how often Pot Tomorrow gets his Wisdom of the Elders. That happens at the end of Sunnyvale's turn, so Pot Tomorrow has his entire turn and 6 cards in hand to figure out what he wants to do. I'm starting to feel like his deck might be a little greedy. Oh, hello! Execute coming down, destroying the exhausted Cannon Bear and dealing 2 to Sunnyvale's face. So we have first blood for Pot Tomorrow, 21-23 in Sunnyvale's favor, but there still is the second 5/6 Cannon Bear on the board. What is Pot Tomorrow gonna do? He needs some more value out of his deck. Pot Tomorrow plays a Waystone. Of note, he did not get the Grenadin out of it. And Sunnyvale immediately snaps off the attack, dealing 6 to Pot Tomorrow, playing the Blink Wolf, and leaving once again the Waystone in hand in case to fuse Guardian, and then double Conflagrate, and 1 Torch. So I feel like he's able to react to everything. Varv's favor takes out the Blink Wolf, allows him to gain a life and a Shadow Sigil. So don't get me wrong, Pot Tomorrow has plenty of efficient removal on his side of the board, but man, just doesn't seem to be able to establish good footing on the ground. Another Execute takes out the other Cannon Bear. So slowly but surely, believe it or not, despite Sunnyvale deploying threat after threat, Pot Tomorrow has been able to stick around, but not for long. Sunnyvale seems to have a smile on his face because he drew a Guardian and has a Canyon Bear off the top. So shooting Pot Tomorrow down to 14 after attack from Devotee and sending it back. Oh man, this is exciting. Let's see where it comes down to. Pot Tomorrow's at 9 power. He really needs to make some things happen. Cut Ties once again at slow speed, even though it is a fast spell, killing the Cannon Bear. 1 coming across through the Devotee for Sunnyvale, pinging Pot Tomorrow to 13, and then he plays the Infused Guardian, immediately playing a Fire Sigil, taking it up to 5. Oh boy, let's see. Pot Tomorrow, come on. Of note, Pot Tomorrow hasn't been able to draw a card off of any of the Frost Talismans. 7 just being way too much. And finally, he is able to deploy a Cannon Bear of his own, sending 1 upstairs to Sunnyvale, taking him down to 20. 20-13. 5/6 on the board for Pot Tomorrow. 1-3 and a 5/5 with Endurance. That's about to become a 6/6 on Sunnyvale's side. This is still not looking very good for Pot Tomorrow unless that 1 card in his hand is something worthwhile. So I guess we'll have to find out. Sunnyvale trying to do the math in his head, figuring out if it is worth attacking with the Infused Guardian here or not. He decides to go with the Conflagrate and double Conflagrate to the Canyon Bear, trying to take it off the board, figuring he still has Torch and he's got the upper hand here. So he swings with both units to a clear board. Patumaro has a pause, but it's not effective here, so he passes it on. Goes down to 6. Sunnyvale deploys a Grenadin and passing back, and of course, surprise, surprise to absolutely no one, it is a Wisdom of the Elders for Patumaro, drawing 2 cards. Is this enough to get him out of this? If he can take out the Guardian, he might be in decent shape because the other 2 only pose 2 damage, being a 3-turn clock, considering the fact that he does not know Sunnyvale has the Torch in hand. Things are looking pretty grim for Patumaro. He seeks power, that's not going to help. Thins the deck, so maybe when he draws a card it ends up being something, but he really needs to deal with this Guardian right now. This is the turn where he needs to make something happen. Let's see if it does or not, but it's not looking very good for him. Alright, double or amplified Conflagrate comes down, taking out the Devotee and 3 to the Guardian, assuming he's got a way to do a Torch coming down, killing the Infused Guardian. So 1/1 Grenadin left on the board. It's going to swing in for 5 of course, or for 1, taking Patumaro to 5. He follows up with Initiative of the Sands and holds that Torch in hand. So let's see, Patumaro has to have, oh, he draws a card, still has 4 power left. Is this enough to give him some gas? Oh no, he is effectively at 2 right now. Nothing doing, he passes the turn. So Blink on the top of the deck for Sunnyvale. He decides to go ahead and first attack Streets of Flames, having to take down the Initiate. He uses the Blink to save the Initiate, still dealing 1 damage presumably to Sunnyvale, or correction, Patumaro. Patumaro gets the scout off the Streets of Flame, leaves it on top. Let's see if that's a little bit of a reprieve. Avrax Familiar off the warp, man. So much value off the warp. And then Awakened Sentinel off the top. So nothing but gas for Sunnyvale here. He can deploy his 2 Initiative of the Sands and still leave a power in the form of Praxis Banner for the Torch at the end of Patumaro's turn. Things are looking once again still very grim for Patumaro. Sunnyvale sees the line and decides to go ahead and do it, playing the banner now, even though he's losing a little bit of value for his Infused Guardian, but he doesn't know when he's going to draw one versus for sure having the Torch in hand. Sunnyvale, taking advantage of just all the power being depleted for Patumaro, goes ahead and torches him in the face. He's smiling. He can read the writing on the wall. Let's see if Patumaro can as well. He's hard pressed to come out of this. Frost favorite kills an Initiate, gains him life, but he's still dead to on board, lethal. Does he have something? Oh, double Conflagrate, killing both units, leaving only a 1/1 Grenadin. Sunnyvale draws the Sentinel. He immediately attacks for 1, draws the Sentinel. Can Patumaro pull this off? Can he pull this off? He needs another answer to 2. He can draw a card. He's at 12 power right now. Oh my god, Cannon Bear off the top, killing the Grenadin, giving him a blocker for the Awakened Sentinel. He plays a power and still able to draw a card. He's at 1, but Sunnyvale tops deck to Torch for the win. And there's a big old smile from Sunnyvale, knowing that he barely pulled that off, but he took home the win. Wow, that was one exciting match to watch. Did you guys enjoy it as much as I did? Because I did. Let me know in the comments below if you thought Patumaro had a chance to pull it off or if you thought Sunnyvale had it the whole time. It was close and the back and forth at the end was extremely exciting. Regardless, remember guys, you can catch Patumaro at the Farming Eternal Podcast. That's right, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, all the places you listen to your podcast, they are there. Also remember that they do a 7-win draft deck list spreadsheet. That's right. So if you win 7 games with your draft deck, make sure you export it and send it over to farmingeternal@gmail.com so they can add it to the spreadsheet and make all of us better drafters. They are a weekly podcast, just to throw that out there. Sunnyvale streams 4 times a week at twitch.tv/sunnyvale, so definitely check him out. He also writes a weekly article for Star City Games for those of you that play Brawl. But Spread the word, guys. Follow these new content creators if they are new to you and you enjoyed them. Share it with your friends so we can keep building this great community of ours with this game that Dire Wolf has created in the form of Eternal. I definitely enjoy playing it, and we want to see our positive community continue to grow. So definitely share it. Let me know in the comments below or live at twitch.tv/Jedi_EJ what deck you think has the best shot, or creator has the best shot at taking down the tournament now that you've seen all 8 competitors. Once again, that's going to do it for round 1. That's right. So with that, Sunnyvale is going to stay in the winner's bracket. Moving on, and tomorrow is going to move to the not so winning bracket. Once again, this is a double elimination tournament, so it is not the last we've seen of either contender. So stay tuned for future episodes to find out how things play out. By all means, let me know what you think of the show again in the comments below, or you can message me on my Discord link below, or live on Twitch, like I said earlier, at Jedi_EJ. And of course, if you like this video and want to see more of it, hit the subscribe button down below so I can keep these episodes coming. And that's it. So as usual, guys, happy gaming.